Walked away silently after my wife cheated. Now, a year later, she came looking for me. Okay, so here's my story. After I found out my wife was cheating on me, I decided to pack up and move to the hills. Honestly, I'm not sure why I'm putting this out there, but maybe it'll help someone else dealing with something similar. It's been a wild ride since I discovered my wife's affair back in February 2018, after being married for 3.5 years. I had a gig that involved traveling a bunch, but I could also work from home when I wasn't on the road. I was a director at a tech sales company, and my wife's job was pretty sweet too, but things got tense with her working crazy long hours. Despite the strain, I thought we had a solid marriage. Rewind about 5 years to when we met at a cookout through a mutual friend. We hit it off immediately. I couldn't believe someone as smart and gorgeous as her would be into a guy like me. We dated for about 18 months, and things got pretty serious pretty fast, like clothes flying off serious. Eventually, we got married and settled into a big apartment while saving up for a house. But after 3 years, things started changing. Sure, I still loved her, but she started picking fights over the smallest things. Every time I brought up her late nights and all those work events, she'd get really defensive. She said climbing up the corporate ladder meant putting in extra hours and that I couldn't complain because I was away a lot too. In reality, my trips were only for a few days every 5 weeks, so I told her I could cut back. But those arguments just went in circles. I didn't realize at the time she was having an affair. Apart from our dwindling sex life and her working late a lot, I had no clue. I just thought she was wiped out from work. I never even suspected anything sneaky, like secret texts or whatever, because I didn't see any. She had a work phone and used the spare bedroom as an office, spending a ton of time in there. Around September 2017, she started going out for work events more evenings than not. At first, it was once a week, but that quickly jumped to 3 times a week. I'm not naturally jealous, but I figured she'd have to fend off advances at work, with mostly male execs around, since she seemed all about her job. The first real suspicion hit me a month before the big reveal. She'd gone to the store before coming home, and when I was helping with the groceries, I saw something pink under the front passenger seat of her car. It was her bra. I recognized it straight away because it was from her favorite store. That was a huge red flag. Seeing it made my stomach turn. I didn't bring it up and just tried to hide how freaked out I was. When I brought in the bags, she asked if I was okay because she said I looked like I'd seen a ghost. I brushed it off, trying not to show how mad or hurt I was. I decided to figure out if she was seeing someone else. I started to think about all the signs I might have missed. But aside from the bra, I didn't have any proof. We lived in a big city, and her office was downtown, so I put the affair idea on the back burner and focused on us. I tried to make things special one Friday. I cooked a nice dinner, set the table with fancy stuff, and even got flowers and wine. When she got home from work, she rushed in, said she was sorry she couldn't stay, and that she had to meet coworkers at a local spot. She offered to snack with me before heading out to shower. That hit me hard, and I went pretty quiet. My insides were churning with anger. I was done. While she was in the shower, I tossed my work phone in her back seat, planning to use it to figure something out. So, I was looking for her and went into the kitchen. After that, I threw away the food and flowers and took a shower. She got ready and looked amazing, like she always does. Then she said, "All right, let's eat," but quickly followed with, "Never mind, go out with your friends." I was like, "Are you mad at me?" Because she gave me this weird look. I told her I was bummed out because it felt like she never wanted to do anything with me. She got upset and sarcastically said I was being impatient and needed to quit acting like a kid. I muttered to myself, "Foolish me," as I stood there, trying to let it all sink in. For once, I thought we should spend the evening together, but she just shot me a sly smile and took off. After she left, I pulled out my second phone and tracked her with my work phone. About 20 minutes later, I found her at a bar she often hits up with her coworkers. I spotted her car parked there. I waited in my car across the street, feeling like a total stalker, but telling myself I needed to know where she was. After about an hour, I saw her leave the bar with a guy who looked like some exec from her company. He pulled her close and kissed her, and my stomach just knotted up. They got into another car and drove off. When their car pulled out, I followed them, and yep, they headed to a hotel just 10 minutes away. I stopped on the street next to the hotel and watched them hold hands and go inside. That was all I could take. I felt so stupid and started beating the steering wheel. Something switched off inside me, and I can't even remember if I blacked out or had some out-of-body experience. When I came to, I just wanted a drink. I left town, replaying everything I'd just seen, angry and, though I hate to admit it, crying. I found a cozy little tavern about 30 miles away on the outskirts and stopped in. I ordered a drink and sat at the bar. The bartender, a lady, said I looked like someone had sucked the life out of me, and I half smiled and said, "Yeah, you could say that." A guy sat down next to me and struck up a conversation even though I wasn't in the mood to talk. There was something about him that was kinda comforting, so we got to chatting, and eventually, my wife's cheating came up. I told him I just wanted to get away from her and forget about everything. "You're not alone, buddy," he said, patting my back. He shared that he went through something similar a few years back and told me that these things happen for a reason. "Your life could go either way now, positive or negative, it's up to you," he said, and it weirdly snapped me out of my funk somehow. It was like he was right, and I could finally see it. We exchanged names, his was Rye, and I liked his down-to-earth vibe, even if he was more of a country guy. He asked me if I was planning to move out. Honestly, I hadn't thought that far ahead and was just running on fight or flight mode, knowing I didn't want to be around her anymore. Rye had an idea and felt for my situation. He mentioned having an old trailer on his property I could use if I needed to get away. It might need some fixing up, but he'd give me a great deal and let me park it on a nice piece of land he owned. The bartender, who'd been listening in, said, "If I could have escaped my crazy ex-husband like that, I totally would have." I felt like I'd stumbled into the twilight zone, but maybe this was what I needed. "Yeah, I'll think about it and maybe check it out," I told Rye. After a while, we said our goodbyes and planned to meet up at his place in a few days. I started feeling like I had some clarity and an option to escape the heartache and nightmare. One thing was clear, I couldn't stand the thought of being with my wife again. Cheating is something I have zero tolerance for. When I got home that night, I just sat on the couch. Kathy walked out and asked where I'd been. Without missing a beat, I turned to her and said, "Where have you been?" "So we're having drinks, right?" And I'd just come out and ask her straight up, "Are you seeing someone else?" She looked shocked for a second, but then got herself together and said, "No, why would you even ask that?" I told her I'd heard she might be dating some guy from work. She was like, "Who's been saying that?" I just said it was someone I knew but didn't spill who it was. After calling me ridiculous, she said I must have had too much to drink, and asked where I'd been. I said, "I'm just out at the bar with friends for a bit." Even though she seemed like she wanted to push the issue, she just went back to our room. I ended up deciding to crash on the couch because I couldn't shake the image of her with some other guy. Talk about a night ruined. Feeling crappy and all sorts of messed up, I remembered Ray's trailer and it actually made me feel a bit better. It was like something clicked, I had to get out of there. Next morning, we barely talked and just tried to pretend like everything was normal through the weekend. I set up a meet with Ray a few days later. His ranch was really nice, and the trailer was way better than I expected. 26 feet long, fully furnished, it even reminded me a bit of those college spring break trips with my buddies. Ray accepted my offer for the trailer, and honestly, I felt like I was stealing it from him at that price. Once I got there, I was blown away by the place. There were trails for hiking and biking, loads of trees, and a little cabin on a hill with the utilities I'd need for the trailer. Ray said he'd help set it up for me. Meanwhile, I tried to get Kathy to admit to everything, but it was just more games. I told her straight, no coming back if I found out she was cheating, and she was in deep denial. I almost laughed at how bad she was at denying it all. I was kicking myself for not snapping some pics because I didn't have any hard proof. At that point, I knew I had to move on. While Kathy was at work, I started moving my stuff to the trailer bit by bit. Even though she was being nicer to me, it felt like too little, too late, you know? I needed some space too, so she went off to her work outings, and I'd just say I was meeting friends, turning her own excuses on her. We hung out less, and I was making plans. Hanging out with Ray and his crew at the bar was refreshing. It felt good, and I knew I had to cut down on the drinking, I didn't want to spiral. Then Kathy said she had a work trip coming up, which was the perfect chance for a clean break. I moved all my stuff out while she was away, leaving shared stuff behind, and just wrote, "I hope it was worth it," on a note with my wedding ring on top. Walking out felt like a massive weight was lifted. Sure, I'd need time to heal and figure things out, but I was finally doing something for me. I didn't yell or beg for the truth, I just left it all behind. Wow, let me break it down for you in a more laid-back style. So, in my opinion, she totally deserved it. She just tossed aside everything we had, like our future plans for a house and family. Now, it's all over, and there's no going back. I don't owe her a thing, and she can deal with the fallout herself. I didn't get a lawyer or anything, I just wanted a fresh start and some clarity. The mountain air really hit the spot. Once I got inside my trailer, I started running again the next week, and it felt amazing to be alive. While she was away, Kathy was texting stuff like, "We just landed," or "We're having a team dinner." She was wondering where I was in a few emails, asking why I hadn't got back to her. I didn't reply. When she got home, my phone blew up with her calls and texts, but I ignored them all. Even her mom tried to call me after the first day, but I didn't pick up. She didn't bother reaching out to my dad since we're not close, and he's the only family I have left. Her messages got more urgent after I ignored her for a week, with texts like, "What's going on?" and "We need to talk." She said nothing was happening, no affair or anything. A week later, she finally admitted she made a mistake, saying I was absent while she got involved with someone at work. I've been waiting for her to confess, but it just made me dislike her even more. Why couldn't she just be honest from the start? I couldn't imagine a future with her anymore. Mistakes don't last for 6 months or a year. Her pleas to work on the marriage got pretty desperate, but I still didn't respond. After a while, she stopped bothering me, and I wanted to keep it that way. I didn't want her snooping around and ruining my peaceful life. Then she started sending nasty texts like calling me a coward and begging me to come back. Honestly, I can't remember all of them, but they seemed full of excuses and not genuine regret. I let those messages go in one ear and out the other. Eventually, I switched my phone number. Fast forward to June 2018, and Kathy emails me saying she's hired a lawyer and is filing for divorce. I just said, "Okay, sounds good." That led to more emails from her, asking me to visit. She promised to stop bothering me if I agreed to an uncontested divorce. Once I did, I felt genuinely free. A few months later, after moving out of our apartment, I didn't have to see her again. It felt like she cared more about that than I did, even though neither of us had closure. I'd think about her occasionally, and memories would flood back, like when I heard a song we both liked. But eventually, I just stopped thinking about her. Now, the divorce is official, and life is looking up. I met a wonderful girl not too far from my place. We clicked when I helped her change a flat tire on the trail. She's a bit younger than me and super adorable, calling me her mountain man. I love the lifestyle I've built, and I'm in no rush to settle down again. Living in my trailer, keeping things simple, and enjoying the outdoors has made everything easier, including dealing with the grief of my past. I know everyone deals with stuff like this differently, but I was lucky it happened just 3 years into the marriage, and we didn't have kids. If you ever find yourself in a situation like mine, don't dwell on it too much. Just keep living your life and bettering yourself. It'll get better. I hope everyone finds happiness. I've revised this story like 5 times to make it readable and wanted to give you an update on what's been happening. I was a bit anxious that my ex-wife was trying to track me down. I moved away, about 2 hours from our old place. Last weekend, I spotted her at a coffee shop I frequent, close to my new home. I don't think it was a coincidence, but luckily, I managed to duck out before she saw me. Another update, last weekend, I was doing my grocery run and swung by my usual coffee spot. I was using their free Wi-Fi to work on some stuff. As I was leaving, I heard someone shout my name. I turned and saw Kathy across the street, waving at me. It was my ex-wife, finally catching up with me. So, it felt like the end of the world when she came rushing across the street towards me. I was just standing there, totally stunned, almost expecting a hug. But instead, she came over and stuck out her hand. Instinct kicked in, and I put up my arms, palms facing up, almost like I was trying to stop her right there. She looked like she was in serious pain. Then, she dropped a bit of a bombshell, saying, "I've been looking for you, Paul. I've been wanting to see you ever since I found out you moved here. Can we chat?" Honestly, it felt like I was trapped in a cage, but I said, "All right, let's find a place to sit and talk for a bit." When she asked if we could go to my place, I was pretty firm with a no. She ended up following me to a bench outside a cute little store at the end of the street. She kicked things off by commenting on how different I looked and how much she liked the changes, my beard, my fitness level. Apparently, the tank top and shorts combo was a hit, and her hair was tied up in a ponytail, just like I used to like. I could tell she was really laying it on thick, trying to turn on the charm. I had to keep my wits about me to see where all this was going. She started off by apologizing for the affair. She explained that after I left, karma hit her hard. Her boss found out about the affair, and things got so tense she ended up quitting. Her affair partner, let's call him AP, who was engaged at the time, got some heat and was moved to another department. She said she told his fiancée the truth when he tried to blame her for everything, and that caused their breakup. At that point, she bowed her head and started crying. I didn't say anything, just looked around. She eventually straightened up and stared at me. I asked, "What do you want from me?" She assured me there was no intent to cheat. She said the company's politics and her AP's charm drew her in. She admitted they both took advantage of each other. After I accused her of cheating, she said she wanted to come clean. She used to drink after work to numb the guilt, feeling stupid, alone, and heartbroken right after I left. She ended her affair with AP right away and felt she had to find me to see if there was any chance we could reconcile. But since I didn't reach out or talk to her, she wanted a fresh start, hoping we could build something new even though we were divorced. I just looked at her and let it out. You can't just show up and try to undo all the damage. Do you think I'll just forget everything you did to wreck what we had? Once a cheater, there's no forgiveness from me. It's over. You killed it when you left me, trashed everything we had together. Do you think I'm a fool? I saw you with him going into a hotel one night. Did you know that? My voice was getting louder, and I noticed people starting to look. She grabbed my arm and cried. After a bit, I pulled away from her. I deserve all this, she said, looking up at me. I know I do. If nothing else, can I take you out for dinner? I just want to talk more. It's important to me that we're clear about everything. I want to spend more time with you than I did before. Please, Paul, I love you so much, even if you don't want to hear it. Before you left, I didn't realize just how much you meant to me. You broke me too, as much as I broke you. I can't forgive myself, and I don't want to until the day I die. She started sobbing uncontrollably, and I just hugged her because it seemed like the only way to calm her down. I knew right then that her heart was as broken as she had broken mine. As we walked, we found a quiet spot to keep talking. I asked her, "How did you even find me? Did you hire a private investigator?" She hesitated for a moment, then chuckled a bit, saying, "No, I bumped into Stacy a few weeks back and asked how you were." Stacy didn't say much, but I kept pressing her until she spilled the beans. She wasn't supposed to tell me, but all she knew was that you were somewhere around here and in town on your days off, so I started coming by. I laughed a bit, thinking how Stacy really can't keep a secret. She blushed. We eventually decided to grab dinner at this cute little place with a patio. I made sure we didn't drink, didn't want to give her any excuse to say she was too tipsy to drive or anything. In the end, we actually had a pretty good conversation. So, I walked her to her car, and she kept saying she hadn't been with anyone else since I left. She was super insistent that I was the only one she wanted and really pushed me to stay longer. I had to tell her, no way, it's just too soon for me to go there. She begged me to come back, but I didn't say yes. I just gave her my new email and didn't add anything else. When she asked for my phone number, I joked, "You'll just blow up my phone with texts and calls," which made her cry, but she eventually agreed it was for the best. Before she left, I asked her straight up if she'd forgive me if I had been the one to cheat. After a pause, she said, "Yeah, eventually, but only if we worked on it with a marriage counselor and a lot of talking, maybe even a contract." I told her, okay, maybe I could consider it in 5 or 10 years, and she said she'd wait if that's what it took. Then, she held my hands, looked me in the eyes, and said, "Damn it, Paul, I'll always love you and do anything to prove it." That really took me by surprise and kept bothering me after she left. Her words were so strong, but I still couldn't see us getting back together. Even thinking of her as a friend was iffy. Afterwards, I went home, went for a long run, had some beer, and reflected on how far I'd come. I really needed someone to assure me she wouldn't ruin the peace I'd found. I realized I had the time to work things out, but it all felt too fresh. Here's the likely last update. When I first shared my story on Reddit, it kept getting taken down by the moderators. In short, I ghosted my ex-wife for over a year until she found me. She wanted to patch things up and start fresh. If you thought I'd just forgive her like that, you'd be wrong. She sent a long email apologizing for the affair last week, even offering to visit me for the weekend. I shut her down. I told her I had no intention of patching things up. I'm really happy being single, enjoying my own space and a simple life. At 32, I'm in no rush to change that. I've got my own plans and have had fun with a few friends and dates. I made it clear in my email that I wasn't interested in reconciling and didn't give her my phone number. I told her, "I don't know or trust you anymore, you made your choices. I wish you well, and maybe we can be friends someday, but not right now." She wasn't thrilled with my answer and revealed she'd taken a job in another state, hoping I'd go with her because I could work remotely. She wanted a fresh start somewhere new, but I had a business trip planned, so her time ran out. I'm relieved she's moving on and out of my life, though I expect a few more emails from her. She'll have to find someone else, and who knows, maybe she'll cheat on them too. To everyone reading this, make the most of your life. Let go of the past and empower yourself to move on. Good luck to all of you, and thanks for following along. If you haven't yet, Please subscribe and hit the notification bell for more real life stories like